What is up, Planeswalkers? Theorix6 back with some more Magic the Gathering Arena. Be sure to head over to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. It's a good deal and it helps support the channel. Now today, we're hopping into one of the first of many Aristocrat style deck. And for those of you who don't know, Aristocrats is a style of deck that likes to take advantage of your own creatures dying. So this is just a Rakdos version. And the reason I wanted to start with a Rakdos version is because I think it is a relatively simple version to get into, and it does use a lot of the pieces that if you branch out into third colors or potentially change up your colors a little bit, you'll be able to utilize a lot of the cards that you craft for this to play in those other ones. So that said, I will be playing, so this is the Rakdos, I'll be playing at the very minimum a Mardu version, Abzan, Golgari, 4-color, which is everything but blue, and then just an Orzhov one. So I'll be playing at least 5 other Aristocrats builds over the course of this current standard rotation. That said, I'm going to, try and space them out so they're not super boring for you guys. But this is just the introduction, and this specific build revolves around mostly utilizing Judith's Death Trigger and getting value out of Gruesome Menagerie. So as you can see, this is more of an aggressive style Aristocrats deck as opposed to a super grindy one. Some of the later ones, especially the Abzan one, are going to be a lot more grindy and want to go late game. So this one has 10 1-drops, 11 2-drops, and 10 3-drops to guarantee those nice menageries and pretty much guarantee a nice curve. We're using 4 Gutterbones because we're able to repay for it with utilizing Priest of Forgotten Gods very easily, and it's a nice 2-power creature on turn 1. We're using 4 Firelight Fiends because of the fantastic ability with Judith to be able to ping down slightly larger threats, and the fact that it is guaranteed damage, and we're using 2 Stitcher Suppliers, essentially because it allows us to pad our graveyard with Gruesome Menagerie without actively hurting us at all. It is the weakest of our 1-drops, and you could definitely go for something like Fanatical Firebrand, but I've personally found that having a 2 of a Stitcher Supplier is very helpful in a Menagerie style build. Running 3 Priest of the Forgotten Gods, kind of our main way to do aristocracy type things. In this deck, typically, what you're going to be doing is just attacking your opponent, and then at some point, things will die and Judith will kill your opponent. But sometimes you are going to need to utilize Priest of Forgotten Gods, and she comes in handy a lot as essentially a nice removal style spell. Because if you have Judith on the field as well as, let's say, Footlight Fiend, you're going to be able to sacrifice Footlight Fiend and, let's say, Gutterbones, deal 3 total damage to a creature, and then have your opponent sacrifice the remaining creature if they only have 2. The fact that you're able to draw cards with it is fantastic, as well as the fact that it works really nicely with Gutterbones. For what it's worth, you are able to pseudo-ramp into being able to play Menagerie in situations where you otherwise wouldn't, because she does give you 2 black, very helpful. That said, she's only 3 of, because she is a 1-2 for 2, which is not great. We're playing 4 Rix Maadi Revelers, essentially because it's a really decent card for gaining gas in the super late game if you need it, or for just fixing your draws. If you're in a situation where maybe you need that 5th land for Menagerie and you're just holding like a Stitcher Supplier, you can totally play out a Rix Maadi Reveler, goodness me, my tongue, discard the Stitcher Supplier, and potentially draw into that land that you need for the following turn. I found that playing this card on turn 2 really smooths out your draws, especially if you keep either a land light hand or a land heavy hand. Maybe you have 4 lands in your opening hand and you top deck another land. Reveler really evens those draws out quite a bit. Fireblade Artist is the cream of the crop in the style of deck, being the fact that it has haste, so you attack immediately for 2, and it allows you to purposefully utilize your other death triggers on your upkeep for free. It's very helpful. I was surprised at how efficient Fireblade Artist is. Midnight Reaper is kind of the other powerhouse 3-drop here. It allows us to maintain gas. For what it's worth, the amount of red in the meta right now does mean that you can start dealing a little bit too much damage to yourself, which is why white does help a little bit with the amount of life gain that it can add. But for what it's worth, Midnight Reaper is just a nice, fantastic card that you can play against pretty much anyone and be pretty happy about it. Legion Warboss, it's pretty much just an aggressive 3-drop. This is kind of a flex spot. Feel free to insert whatever you guys personally want, but I found Legion Warboss helps a lot at being super aggressive. The tokens made when you have a Judith on the field are 2/1s that like you have to attack with anyway, but if your opponent ends up chump blocking, you at least get 1 damage through, which is very helpful. And of course, we have 4 Judiths because we want to see Judith every game, and we don't actually mind if we play a second Judith when there's already a Judith, because the Judiths That's so funny. They see each other die. So if you have a Judith, you play a second Judith. You sack one of them to the legend rule. You'll have 2 Judith triggers total, which is very nice because you can theoretically pay 3 mana to ping something for 2. It's a really expensive shock to your opponent's face or shock to your opponent's creatures, something like that. But the fact that she's incredibly aggressively costed for her abilities is very helpful, and it allows us to just push through really annoying damage. I'm running 2 Bedevil. This is another one of those flex spots. If you find that you would prefer to have, say, more 1-drops in the deck, maybe instead of having so much Bedevils, you instead put in something like Carnage Carnival, I think is what it is. Yeah, let's go with that. Carnage Carnival, sure. That's something that I've tested with and has been fine, but I found Bedevil just helps a lot against some of the stickier matchups, like really controlling control in mid-range. It allows us to get rid of very specific threats. And then, of course, for Gruesome Menagerie, because that's why we're playing the deck. We want to Menagerie out our opponent. I don't have any sideboard for this one because this is just a best of 1 deck. I've been playing the crap out of this one because I saw that many people did not like my mistake in the last video. So I tried to get a really good hold of this deck. That said, I really feel I should explain that when you're producing content and you are commenting and trying to, play as well as you can, one of them is gonna suffer, right? It's really difficult to expertly, I shouldn't even say expertly because I'm not expert, to play the best you can and make sure that you have decent commentary. I'm not even gonna say my commentary is good because frankly I don't think it is. Here, so I could play Footlight Fiend. It kind of forces the sack on Firebrand before they end up playing anything, so I don't get as much value. I think it's better just to play out the Blood Crypt tapped, and next turn I can play out the Rix Maadi Reveler, probably dropping one of my Priest of Forgotten Gods. So this is the Rakdos version, so I assume it's a lot more burn heavy. This is definitely one of those matchups where it's a little bit harder to win properly. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and Rix Maadi Reveler. Get rid of one of these Priests. Very slow in this matchup. Alright, another Fiend. Not terrible, because it is something that we can play both of these. We could also play a Priest, and then play both of these and utilize the Priest. That is definitely something we can do. I block here pretty much every day, because I want to not die. We are in a really strange spot against aggro because of the fact that we're not as aggressive as they are. That is interesting. I guess they're trying to play some light up the stage. Yeah, okay. Ooh, goodness me. All right. Do they have a land? They don't. Interesting. Okay. Now that's a large amount of damage coming out here. And I could just play Judith to try and dissuade them from bolting my face, but I think a slightly better option is to try and get some sort of board presence. I unfortunately think that this is one of the weaker matchups. The mono red aggressive deck that utilizes mostly creatures, that deck not actually that bad. But when it's the burn variant, it's really hard to race them properly, especially since they are running Sovereign's Bite. In a more grindy Aristocrats deck that utilizes things like Hunted Witness and things like Tesa to allow our tokens to have lifelink, it's a lot better. Interesting. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect that. Shock on the Priest? Yep. I am totally fine with that. The amount that they lost there was pretty good for me. Yeah, I mean, that's 6 damage that they lost. So here I could play Judith. I could Supplier and Fiend. If I play Judith, do I attack? No, I guess not. I think I kind of have to hope for a single turn to help me out here. But I mean, if he shocks, if he kills my Judith, his Viashino Pyromancer is dead, right? That's one of the helpful things, that it's an X1. Field is unfortunate, but that is a Bedevil target if I've seen one. That's interesting. I'm not gonna just block with a Footlight Fiend. I lose a little bit of damage, but I don't want to trigger another light up the stage or skewer the critics or anything like that, so... I do think I just ping my opponent in the face. Try and get them down a little. And a Lava Runner, sure. So that's nice to see. So now I can play a Footlight Fiend, which contests this Lava Runner, and Bedevil this main phase, because I don't want to take any damage from that. I want to make sure that their light up the stages are as off as possible. I could attack here, but I don't personally think it's worth it. If I'm able to get a land and a Gruesome Menagerie, that's pretty good for us. Right, 1, 2, and potentially 3, if our Judith ends up dying, which I would not mind if that happened, because we have a replacement. Sovereign's Bite, ow. Skewer on Judith is fine with me. And I will go ahead and just ping my opponent's face. Footlight Fiend blocks as a 2/2, or as a 2/1, I suppose. So I'm fine with this result here, especially since I picked up another Judith. Go and play a Supplier out, and now we're, as long as our opponent doesn't draw. Alright, well, those would have been 3 lands that I didn't need. So as long as our opponent doesn't draw super well, we do have pressure. Kind of unfortunate, but otherwise, fine. And another Lava Runner. Okay. I block that all day long. Why, though? I mean, I could even block with Judith. In fact, I think I'm going to. I think it's actually just straight up better to block with Judith here, because I can still ping the Pyromancer and I play another Judith. Yeah, this is fine. It's potentially worse to my Judith dying to a burn spell, but if my Judith takes the burn spell, I'm kind of fine with that. And I play the Judith here first because I want to put pressure on my opponent, and I don't necessarily want to lose life from Midnight Reaper, right? This is kind of the worst matchup for that. Rix Maadi Reveler. I think it's correct to... Is it correct to attack with all? Yeah, I think I need to pressure my opponent's life total down. And I have activated Spectacle on this, throwing away something that I was going to use for card draw anyway. And gives me some card draw that is less dangerous to my health, let's say. If we're able to beat this deck, it's going to be a good showing for us. Go and play this, play out the Fireblade Artist. Let's see, 3, 6... 10 total. So I'm definitely attacking here. I can attack here and then hold up 2 blockers. And that still puts them on a 2-turn clock. Yeah. So I think that's a reasonable thing to do. Right? It wouldn't have changed the clock too much. They would have been at 4. 4, I guess, would have been a Fireblade Artist plus Priest of Forgotten Gods trigger. Well, not even, because I'd have Judith. No, I still think this is fine. Yeah, they just decide to seppuku. Cool. I do think that's kind of a rough matchup for us, but luckily our opponent attacked our stuff and not our face. Thank you for the rare gems. Interesting. So it says Ixalan here. I've never noticed. I wonder if that tells me like that's where the card is from, or if they're just all Ixalan. I really do like the new system. I just kind of wish that they told you what card it was. Wait, I have all of the rares from Ixalan? What? Yogg so soft. Oh, goodness me, that's good. Yeah, this is fine. If I can get a 3rd land, Midnight Reaper is really good with this. Obviously, I have, like, way too many 1-ofs, or 1-drops, but kind of expected in a deck like this. Opponent also mulliganed, which is helpful. Another kind of weak matchup for us is Mono Blue, because it's pretty much entirely a race. And sometimes they get those, you know those hands. They get unblockable creature into Curiosity. Ooh. We're playing one of these games. I'm fine with that block. Exactly what I thought, sir. So we'll go ahead and play out a Footlight Fiend. And another Gutterbones, I guess? Yeah. Not gonna play out the Supplier just yet. So it appears that my opponent is on the Orzhov version of Aristocrats. They could be on Mardu, but seeing both of those makes me think it's not the case. Really unfortunate that I didn't draw any lands. Double kill my Gutterbones, but that's fine. Sure. I'm going to Stitch Supplier, and of course, I'm probably going to drop 3 lands in the bin. Just 2, that's fine. Opponent is down to 13, which is helpful. Oligarch. Yeah, this is very, very likely just Orzhov version. And it looks like our opponent is also missing out on mana, so less terrible. That said, I attack with just the Fiends, I believe. This is Afterlife 1. If I attack with just the Fiends, they probably just block Oligarch. I guess I could put a Gutterbones back into my hand. I'll attack with all 3, because then if they do decide to block a Footlight Fiend, like this kills the Supplier. It gives them a free block on the Pinniless Pontiff, but if they want to also kill a Fiend, alright, I'm fine with that. So I could just put this back in my hand, but honestly I would rather just play another creature. Win for the 3 lands. 2 lands once again. I mean, 1 more land and we should be pretty much home free here. Do they have their own Midnight Reaper? Is the real question. What are you doing to my Supplier? Oh, Carnival? Sure. Alright, none of those would have been lands. I'm totally fine with that. Going in for the attack? Sure. A bit risky to attack with the Pontiff as well. I mean, I guess that has Vigilance, but it still seems risky to me. Where are my lands? I'm just going to bludgeon my opponent to death with 1/1s. Alright, I'll put that in my hand. Priest? Yeah. Can I have a land? Thank you. Do I play that untapped? Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I do. I'm gonna take a lot of damage here. I definitely attack with these. I wouldn't be able to kill their token. I think I need to keep a Stitch Supplier back. But I'm fine attacking like this. Alright. I'm very lucky that my opponent also stumbled on mana. Alright. If I can get a Judith, we're in a pretty good spot. Another Bedevil's okay. Let's see if our opponent has something like a the 3-drop. Looks like they don't. Pretty sure I block Oligarch every day, yeah. Pretty sure I still block Pontiff every day. Yeah, I'm really curious what my opponent has in store for me. Pretty sure I just block this. See if our opponent wants to like activate Pontiff for any reason. Nope. Alright, got another Fiend. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. I'm fairly certain I win. Bedevil on this. Unless my opponent has something at instant speed that I'm not aware of. This is another creature, right? Yeah. Sacrifice 2 other creatures. Mortify my Reaver. Alright, we've not won yet. Do you actually sack your board here? Interesting. Interesting play from my opponent. We draw land, we can Menagerie into a sweet board. We don't draw land, then we just have Legion Warboss attack for functional lethal. Of course, they could let the Footlight Fiends through and block the 1/1, but then the following turn, I once again have the potential for land into Menagerie, so... They are playing red! That said, unfortunately, it's too little too late. I did not see that coming. I guess we were both stuck on mana. Except I won at the end of the day. And that's all that really matters. This gate art is just fantastic. That said, who in their right freaking mind would ever go to a carnival with the damn demon face? I know I wouldn't. In fact, you could say, I wouldn't be caught dead in such an establishment. This hand is not great because the glut of lands, but we do have 1-drop into 2-drop. And we have a Menagerie that is almost certainly going to be able to be cast. I'm going to keep it. Oh, sweet. Got that Rix Maadi Reveler to potentially modify our hand if we need it. So red-black, let's see if they're on a similar deck or just the Rakdos aggro deck. I guess I can't tell. We'll pay 2 life. We don't love it, seeing that our opponent's also Rakdos, but the fact that this is a swamp makes me hope that it's not burn. It's Mardu. Probably Aristocrats as well, is my guess then. Yep, looks to be that way. I mean, I could sacrifice Footlight Fiend now, but like it kills this and allows me to attack with Fireblade Artist. Yeah, I'll do it. I don't know if that's correct, but it allows me to actually attack here. All right, actually decent. I'm gonna go ahead and play. Well, I'll attack first. Get the damage through. Play out a Priest. Play out a Footlight Fiend. Next turn we can play Menagerie. We don't have a 3-drop to get with it, though. Oh, they're playing the Vindictive Vampire version. Alright. So once again, I could sack Footlight Fiend, but I don't think there's a need to, since I have Priest of Forgotten Gods out. Let's go and decline that. I guess we're just going to Blood... Yeah, I think we're just Blood Crypt tapped here. So I can pretty easily kill Vindictive Vampire utilizing Priest of Forgotten Gods. The question is, do I want to... Yeah, I want to be... I don't want to discard Gruesome Menagerie. But I do want to draw more cards. But I think it might actually just be better to do this. Discard a land. Could be super wrong here, but... so let's go ahead and do this. Target you. Footlight Fiend and Reveler. Ping on this. They have to sacrifice a Vampire. Yeah. Draw land. I'll play out my Priest. And I'll attack for 2. So down to 10. I can use Menagerie to get back Rix Maadi Reveler and do some more sack shenanigans. Unfortunately, of course, you can't pay Spectacle from the grave. Another Vampire, sure, that is going to die almost certainly. Let's go and decline that. But I will have something to discard, so that's decent. Get this and this. Kind of a subpar get there, but Rix Maadi Reveler on an empty hand is pretty good. Do we utilize Priest Forgotten Gods now? Yeah, we do. We'll target you. Definitely sacking the Footlight Fiend. I honestly think that we want to keep both of our gods around. Our priests around, I should say. This can go face because our opponent has a sack. They lose a bit more life. Gutterbones is nice to see because it's something I can do with my mana. And then I swing in. Next turn I can just activate Gutterbones from Fireblade Artist, and my opponent's pretty much going to be dead. I guess they could, like, wipe my board with Kaya's Wrath. Okay, didn't have Kaya's Wrath. Yeah, let's do this. It's more fun this way. Yay! We did cool Aristocrats shenanigans. 26 minutes. Let's play another one. These games go by relatively quickly. This format is quite fun. It's Meatwad. My name is Sheikh Zula, the Mike Ruler, the old schooler. You want to check? I'll make it to you. Fry lock and a monster. I watched way too much Aqua Teen Hunger Force as a kid. And yes, I did say as a kid because I'm a terrible child. I'm really excited if, you know, quote unquote Arena Modern or crap, I called it something. Oh, I called it Coliseum. If Coliseum ever becomes like a thing in Arena, which is just all of the sets that have ever been on Arena legal, I would love to see how an Aristocrats style deck works with all of these new tools that we got from Ravnica Allegiance, while utilizing specifically Yahenni. I'd be very curious to see that. Alright, sure. Mina Reaper is hopefully going to help us out against this Golgari Midrange style deck. If this dies, then I have decent targets for a Menagerie, if I end up drawing it. Wild Growth Walker. Unfortunate, but looks like... Alright, darn. Alright, that is fine. Ooh, and I drew a Menagerie. Do I attack with the... I think what I do is I play the Blood Crypt tapped, I play another Midnight Reaper, and I swing for the fences. My opponent could easily just chump block my Supplier, and that's fine with me, because next turn I'm Menagerie-ing up, my friend. Fortunately, of course, my opponent is able to play something like a Jadelight Ranger, and kind of hurt me a bit. But next turn I can, let's see, so I'll probably get Gutterbones instead. Well, I'm definitely going to get Judith. I'll probably get Priest. Judith Priest. Everyone's going to be mad at me if I don't name the deck Judith Priest. That's awkward. Okay, I assume they're going to keep fine. Yeah, that makes sense. This seems like it's going to be a hard matchup. Psych. Menagerie time. So definitely Judith. Oh, Gutterbones. Don't want Gutterbones. Do I want Priest? Priest seems good. Priest seems really helpful. I think I will Priest. Now Gutterbones. And I'll attack with both of these, because I either draw cards or kill Wild Growth Walker. My opponent, of course, could rebuy the Wild Growth Walker, but that's fine with me. Gonna draw so many cards, you're not gonna know what to do with them. Don't forget about the Judith Ping, my friend. Judith Ping kills Wild Growth Walker. And that's precisely why I'm attacking like this. My opponent obviously could and should just block with Jadelight Ranger. That was incorrect. Because these are both going to die. And they're... So before, they would have theoretically been able to play a land... Oh, no, what do you have? Oh, there's... Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, no. So they still wouldn't have been able to use Find and recast all of those, so... Drawing so many cards. Ow. Ow. Ooh, Warboss is nice. Warboss is a nice sack to Priest of Forgotten Gods. But if they take a slow turn here using Find, Chupacabra on Judith, I assume? Sure, sure. I'm going to just ping your face. Thank you very much. Footlight Fiend is nice to see. Let's go ahead and play out the Swamp here. Could keep the draws going. 6 mana. 2, 3... 5, 6. I could play Fireblade Artist, Midnight Reaper, and Footlight Fiend. And then Priest Forgotten Gods post. Yeah, I think that's fine. Just want to keep all of the sweet value coming. So we're gonna go ahead and I guess I could attack first. I get through for 2 damage anyway. Target you. Attack this and this. Ping your face. Oh, got another Gutterbones. So many things. Might be better to play the other Gutterbones. Oh, my opponent might Finality here. I don't really want to tempt them to Finality. Three, 7. I would have to discard a card, though. I guess I just play the Gutterbones. It's kind of a halfway. It's kind of a halfway position. I think that's kind of fine. And once again, like, I have such a great hand here because of Midnight Reaper that even if they Finality here, like, if they play a land and take the entire turn to Finality, I'm going to be able to just reset up. If they play a Carnage Tyrant, right, I'm going to be able to immediately get rid of it with Priest. So I really think that block that they did early on in the game with both of their creatures, I think that was kind of what turned the tide. Because if they just blocked with Jadelight Ranger, they would have been able to buy Jadelight Ranger back and then gain more life with it. Like, I wouldn't have been able to just kill off their Wildgrowth Walker so easily. That's an interesting situation there. Let's decline for now. Let's play out a mountain. Let's play out a Legion Warboss. I don't want to go too hard into a board wipe. That said, I have Rix Maadi Reveler, so not actually too worried about it. Also, I have Midnight Reaper, so I'm definitely not worried about it. What am I talking about? This seems fine. Then I attack. And I want to use Priest of Forgotten God post-combat, so that I have the 2 extra mana and I can utilize Rix Maadi Reveler. So this has to attack. Resolve attack. I don't know. Definitely attacking here. Am I fine if they block Gutterbones? Yeah. Yeah. Don't really care too much. Because they might be thinking, well, I need to keep the Llanowar Elf around. Little do they know, I'm just going to Priest them. What are you doing? Gonna Rastus Contempt my Warboss? Rastus Contempt my Midnight Reaper? Huh. Seems reasonable. That's fine. I'm fine with them gaining the life here. I want to make sure I can use my Rix Maadi Reveler to draw, like, real cards. Yeah, that's... So they're banking on this, this Llanowar Elf being able to... Fuck you. Being able to cast Finality here, but I'm not going to let them. They could theoretically, like, top deck a Finality. But I'm going to go ahead and discard my hand. And draw 3 real cards, because those are all lands and I don't need them. that's nice to see. Fireblade Artist, Bedevil. I have enough mana that I like just Fireblade Artist, Gutterbones if my opponent does end up finalitying here. They could find into something. Lenor Elf, Wild Growth Walker. They could find into just Jadelight Ranger, but they're on 8, and I have a really easy 8 damage here. Even if they get a blocker, they don't know about the Bedevil in my hand, so they also don't know about the hasty Fireblade Artist. So opponent looking like not in a good spot. Yep, they go for that, which I am surprised by. Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, my opponent's dead. Let's pay 2 life. Let's just make sure we can use all the mana we want. If that dies, play this. Play this. Move to attacks. Good game, thank you. Attack with you. You and you and you. And you. That is lethal 10 ways to Sunday. I don't think I lost a game this video, did I? Oh. Cool. I won 12 games today with just this variation of this deck, for what it's worth. I did practice 2 different versions. I wasn't sure if I wanted to just start off with the Rakdos build or the Mardu build, the one that includes white. But I decided on Rakdos just because, you know, it's a little bit more simple. The mana base isn't as costly, right? Getting 4 of the Shocklands and the Checklands, not as bad as getting like 9 Shocklands and 9 12 lands, depending on... I said 9 12 lands. 9 Checklands, depending on how exactly you want to build your deck. I figured this is going to be a little bit easier to digest going early on in the expansion. So I would like to thank my lovely patrons for their continued support. If you'd like to join them, you'll find links to that down in the description below, along with links to my Discord server where we chat about Magic and play games and stuff, and the Aether Hub account where I post all of my deck lists and I try to maintain it. I do really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give that tap that like button. Cast a comment to the comment section down below. I forgot to say add a subscription to your mana pool. How will they know? I don't know, I'm being dramatic. Anyway, until next time, all will be one.